Hi folks, thanks for joining me for this week's river tutorial. What you see in the vise is a small pink nymph designed for the Grayling. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the vise then is a Hanak H470 barbless hook. This is the jig wave, it's at size 14, it's on a medium wire and it's in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using to start with is the Veevus, it's the G02 and it's at 30 denier, the GSP thread. And as always with this thread, first thing I want to do is get a little bit of super glue onto the shank of the hook and just use my thread to run that up, and then as I start to get my wraps, I want to just secure the bead over the eye of the hook. So you want with these slotted beads, they come straight over the eye of the hook, and this means the fly will fish upside down. So once you've got that into place, you can get a bed of silk down, and you want to take that back to approximately where a barb would be on a hook. Just remove my waste there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the little tailing fibres, and the tailing fibres are simply some crinkle flash. Take one strand, and what I want to do is make 3 out of it. So I'll fold it, just taking an end, folded it, then I'm going to come up again and fold it again. So what I'm going to do is just cut away that excess and put it to the side for the next fly. So make sure when you tie this in, you've got enough strands going over the top of the bead, because we're going to use that as a back covering for this fly. Get a few wraps in. Once you're happy it's in place, trap in your fibres once more, like so. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. I can carry on with the tying, but at the moment I'm just going to release that, and I'm going to cut my trailing fibres, my tail if you like, to about just over 1/8 of an inch and remove them completely. Next I'm going to bring my thread all the way up to the top, and at this point I want to just cast off the Veevus. It's a fairly quick bug this to tie actually, and if I was just doing the tying it wouldn't take long at all. Probably takes longer to explain how to tie it than it does to do it. So that's the Veevus being cast off, and what I'm using next is some of this ice dub. It's a Hends product, and I'll try and show you on the camera. It's like a thin wool if you like, but this it's a very light pink. Let me have a look. IDT19 it is. So what I want to do with this is, again, I'm going to catch it in at the head and run it back, because this is essentially the body of my fly. So before I come in for my last turn though, I'm going to remove my waste bit, and then I'm free to come back as far as necessary. And then when I come up, what I want to do is get that nice taper into the body. So you don't need much of this stuff, and it's just easier to put it onto a bobbin like this and just make that into a little meaty morsel for the Grayling. They do love a bit of pink, and this is an easy win fly, you know, it's so quick to tie. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use the whip finish tool, I'm just going to put a half hitch around to hold that into place. It is very delicate material, so you don't want to be too harsh with it or you'll end up snapping it. Then once I've got that in place, I can come back with my Veevus that I started with, and again I'm going to catch that in, just in at the head, get 6 or 7 turns on it, make sure you do catch in your body fibres, and then take that waste away. Then what I can do with this, now if you want to be fancy with it, you could have tied in a silver rib. I rarely do, and I rarely tie it on a size 14 to be honest. This works best in 16s down, so very small, but it does work a treat. So the crinkle flash now, over the back, and then I can catch that in. It doesn't have to be tied on a jig hook actually. I often tie this on a curved hook, and it can be fished on the dropper, and is really effective. It's been a great little fly for me this year. It's often the simple things that just work the best, and this is one of them. So before I come in with the whip finish tool, I'm just going to add some UV resin, hopefully not splashed out all over my camera lens. A couple of turns, and then with my whip finish tool I can come in and finish that off. Now this one, because I've tied it in a bigger size for demonstration purposes, I may very well try and tie it on the point when I next go grayling fishing to see how effective it is in that position. But certainly as a dropper fly, you can't beat it in sort of size 16, 18. It works really well. Now what I failed to do was mention the bead I was using. So as I say, it's size 14 hook, it's a 3.5 fluoro bead from Hanak, and it's a slot. It's a really nice pink. Actually it's a shame because the camera doesn't really pick up the colour of this bead, but there we go, I can't do it all. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the videos, and if you are, please consider clicking the subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.